Hello and welcome back to Lean Into Your Light. I am one of your hosts, Kimberly K. French, and I am here with.
Lori Urbaniak, your co-host for this episode. How is your springtime coming? Is it starting to wrap up and turn into summer there yet?
Oh no, we're the Pacific Northwest, and it's been raining a lot in the 50s, but sun is coming. I saw it in the forecast, so hopeful, hopeful,
Sun is
hopeful.
coming. I can't imagine living like that. I live in Colorado and we have over 300 days a year of sunshine. So it would be
Yeah.
well, you used to live in Arizona, right? Is that where you
Oh
live?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep. I
sunny every
I got
day.
tired of the sun, but now I kind of want it back.
I bet. Well,
Yeah.
you get what you get, right?
Exactly. I mean, we all have choices, right?
Mhm.
But today, I know we've been talking a little bit behind the scenes about our patterns, and the
Mhm.
patterns of sun versus rain. I mean, the
Yes.
whole environment and the whole Earth has patterns, and you go to certain places and you know what to expect based on history.
Yes. Yes.
Same for humans, I think.
Right. I know. I've been hearing I think my practice kind of runs in themes, and
Mm,
the theme I've had recently is young women dating on apps and navigating that
mm,
crazy world of
mm,
trying to figure out, you know, behavior patterns of people that you don't know. You're
mm-hmm.
basing them on text or other, you know, strings of emails or whatever it is. So it's been really interesting to listen to these 20 somethings figure out their dating, figuring out jobs, not just on apps, but figuring out which jobs to
Mm,
take, figuring out should they go back with an ex, one,
mm-hmm.
two, three times to go back. Like, what are you not
Mm-hmm.
figuring out that you would go back that many times? So it's all about patterns, and it's about,
Yeah.
picking, like you said earlier, jobs, new relationships, whether it's friendships or partnerships, things like that. So, yeah, we started talking about how
Yeah.
to observe patterns in your life to help kick you out of being stuck or saying, well, why do I keep finding myself in these same jobs, these same dead end jobs, these same relationships that aren't fulfilling to me, that I never know
Mm-hmm.
what's happening next? It's always a game. So, how
Yeah.
do you get unstuck out of
You know,
those patterns?
that's a really good question. And I've learned something years ago which is really stuck with me, and that is our subconscious, which chooses our patterns that we go through, gets set in the first 7 years of our lives. And so we think we have choice. We think we're like free will, and we have choice over all of our decisions. It's like, no, we don't. And until you recognize that and you see all those patterns and ask those
Mm-hmm.
questions, why do I keep choosing the same thing over and over again that is not healthy? You can't see it because you're living in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where, there are tools and strategies to get yourself out of the living in it, to like step
Yes.
back and say,
Yes.
okay, ask the right question. This is a pattern. Do I want to
Mm-hmm.
stay in this pattern? Which is fine. You can stay in the patterns if you want to.
Sure.
It's a
Yeah.
choice. Or do I want to go back and kind of look at it a little differently and make different choices based on what I know about my patterns that got
Mm-hmm.
established the first 7 years when you had no control?
Right. 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 Yeah. That's so important to remember that, it's not a punishment. It's not
Mm,
you did something wrong or you're to
mm,
blame or any of that heavy ego stuff. That is not it at all. All of this is a lesson to learn. And
mm.
so I use this phrase a lot. And it really is helpful because, like you said, when you're in it, you're not seeing the whole thing. You're only seeing what's right here. So to get more
Mm-hmm.
clarity and a different perspective, you can observe it and not absorb it. Because when you're
Love
sitting in
that.
it, you absorb it emotionally, physically, all of that stuff. All your senses are absorbing it. But if you take a step back and observe it from, what do they say, the 30,000-foot view, it
Mm-hmm.
looks a lot different. And you can almost watch the patterns happening and you see how you engage in them as well. which gives you
Mm.
information to say, I see what I did there. I'm going to not do that. This time I'm going to do this instead.
Mhm.
So when you're interacting with people, you can practice that. And so you don't get emotionally connected to that pattern. Why? Because you're a couple steps away from it. And maybe you're watching and going, I'm going to assume, make a guess, whatever, that this person is going to say this if I say that.
Mm.
And you can go, see, I was right. Or no, okay, that's different. I'm going to remember that. Make it a
Mhm.
game, you know? Just see what you can
Mhm.
get from it by being away from it, and
Yeah.
watching. It just really helps you to say, oh, I saw what I did there. And then maybe you want to go into the subconscious and feel about why you did that. What does that bring up for you?
Mhm.
Maybe you'll remember. I think I heard, it was like Oprah Winfrey one time. She said, when were you when that happened? When
Mm.
were you? Not what's
Mhm.
going on right now, but when were you that is something that triggers you now? So
Yeah.
you maybe want to slip back into that. And then, I think we were talking a little bit about the observing, not absorbing,
Yep.
detach emotionally from that. And
Mm.
then watch it play out and see if you can guess what's happening. And then see it as a gift. Take
Mm.
that as
That's a big
information.
step for a lot of people. But that's
Yeah.
important. That's like the important piece. Say more about
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Because you've learned something about
Mm.
what your patterns are. And when you say, I keep getting the same relationship, I keep getting the same stupid job that I hate, and I have these relationships where they're emotionally unavailable. Why do I keep doing that? Why do they keep coming to me? Well, it's
Mhm.
because you are in that pattern of attracting that. And let's say, unhealthy as that is, that's your comfort zone. So you're going to sit
Yeah.
there until you take a step back and watch what you're doing. And then you
Mhm.
can say, I made that choice there, but if I don't want to be in that same pattern, in that same job, in that same relationship, I need to take responsibility for me and choose something different. And
Yeah.
that feels kind of scary because I don't know what that looks like because it's out of my comfort zone. But I'm going to be brave and I'm going to be bold and I'm going to make that step because I'm tired of being stuck. And I'm tired of
Yeah.
having the same thing land on my lap time after time. So that's it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see it as a gift, hop out of my comfort zone, make that choice a different choice. You could, you don't have to completely jump out of your comfort zone right away because it might be a
Mhm.
lot, but just practice that and see what happens.
A couple of things come up for me when you said observe, because I'm like, well, how do you observe? And two things actually came because I've learned in meditation just to close my eyes and pretend you're the observer in the back watching your life unfold. So that's like a good strategy I've
Mm-hmm.
used for myself is
Yes.
being the observer in the back, just watching my life. But then the second
Mm-hmm.
thing that came to mind was a couple of different times when I've looked at my patterns is to make a timeline of your life of all the key things that have happened
Oh,
and
yeah.
really take a
Mm-hmm.
look at, oh, okay, and your job. I had one line for all my jobs, one line for my relationships, and you can kind of see the patterns through putting it on paper. Because
Love
sometimes
that.
if we're in our head, we don't always it doesn't stick.
Right.
But it became really apparent to me my patterns. But then
Mm-hmm.
when you said and that's part of me also detaching when I detached from what was happening and recognizing my parents and the people who I was part of my first 7 years of my life helped set up these patterns, I can detach because I had no control over that. But now I have control over
Right.
my choices today. Uh, maybe, if we become aware, we have more
Mm-hmm.
choice anyway. And then
Yeah.
I love what you said about making it a game because when you make anything lighter and less like the gravity of a situation of choosing the same person over again, it just keeps you stuck. I
Yes.
think making things a game and making it light,
Mm-hmm.
it helps loosen the bonds to help you become unstuck. So I love those pieces that you shared.
Good. Yes, I love writing it down too. I think because one of the most important things, especially in like breaking patterns, I think, is writing it down. It's
Mm.
getting it out. It's because otherwise, woo, 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 woo. So perfect. I love that
Hmm.
timeline. Write it down, even if it's like bullet points. that you can't maybe remember. Some people can't remember their childhood, but they can remember maybe how they felt. So just put those things down, bullet points, a timeline. I love that. I think when
Mm,
you release it that way, and when you see it, it just does something visually, to see it. Oh, that's my life. Okay, I can see that now. I have more information, and it's not just
hmm
all spinning around in your head. I think that's really a
Yeah.
great idea. Yeah, love that.
Well, great. Well, I think there's a couple places I need to still get unstuck in my life. I think there always will be, because we have our patterns. So I'm going to use some of these in my own life and see if I can get unstuck in a few different areas. And yeah, this has been useful.
Yes, I hope so. Everybody enjoy and have fun. And remember, it's a game. Life is meant to be lived, not compacted and done a right way or a wrong way. It's just do it and have some fun and lighten up.
Yeah, I love that advice. So until next time, it's been a pleasure talking with you again, Lori, and sharing our little tidbits from all of our years of experience living in
Yes,
this life. So
yes, yes. All right.
we
Have a
wish you
good
all,
one.
yeah, you too. Wish you all well. See you next time.
Okay. Okay. Bye.